Man, it's been a while since we've heard that music, huh?
Flashback from the past.
Yeah, quite a distant past. I don't even remember when the last time was that we did one of these.
Pre-COVID?
Yeah, maybe, or maybe
Real close, yeah.
shortly after COVID, I guess. Yeah. Cha-cha-cha. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Geeking Poetic podcast channel. I'm one of your hosts, Larry Roberts. This cha-cha-cha and fool over here to my right
is Megan Guess.
Yeah, she's not a fool though, but she likes
dancing fool.
I was just gonna say sometimes right situation you can get kind of dancy.
I can with enough alcohol.
Yeah.
Liquid courage.
Yeah, that's true. We are back. Not only are we back, it's been a little while since we've really done anything on
Had a lot of traveling.
Yeah, on this channel in general, but we are welcoming you to the all new. Well, it's not really all new because we're kind of doing.
We're just bringing it back.
Yeah, it's exactly. Like the Redux.
Everything's like retro right now, bringing back the retro stuff. So that's what we're doing.
There you go.
It's in, so we're making it happen.
Yeah, we are doing the new, revamped version of the Geeking Squad podcast.
Woo woo.
And the reason why.
Did you ask for it? No.
No.
Are you excited for it? No. Are we doing it anyway? Fuck
yes.
Yeah.
But I think some people are going to be excited about it. We had our followers when we used to do this. Mm-hmm. People would look forward to it. Our biggest problem was that we could never, go figure. We could never do it consistently.
It's always our problem.
Yeah, it is. And we're taking
We're going to do
strides.
it. We mean it this time.
Yeah.
18 times a charm.
Right. We're taking strides to try to get things on a regular schedule. The plan right now is that this is going to come out every other week. So at least twice a month this will come out. And we could even probably do it more frequently if we wanted to. But the nice thing...
stuff we want to do too. So
Right. And I think the nice thing about doing this every 2 weeks is it gives us enough time to gather up stuff to talk about. Because the whole point of the Geeking Squad podcast is that we are... taking focus from the articles and the memes and the polls and the discussions that go on in our Facebook group, which is called the Geeking Squad, that we moderate. And people post in there all the time. They post funny memes and they post like polls about what's your favorite movie from 1985 and, things like that. And then people also just post articles about like stuff that's been going on with all geeky stuff, movies, TV, comic books, toys, music, all sorts of things. We don't talk politics. We don't talk religion. We don't talk about any of that hoo-ha because we don't need that hoo-ha around here. You keep that hoo-ha somewhere else, okay? All we want around here is the geeky stuff, right?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so...
It does include real life geeky stuff as well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because I'm saying all this for those that are maybe listening to us for the first time and didn't hear the old Geeking Squad episodes. We break this down into different categories, and we have a section later where we'll talk about geeky stuff that's actually current in
the news,
real life events and stuff, because whether it's sci-fi or mysteries solved or, sunken treasures, all kinds of things like that. We're going to cover that.
Hidden treasures.
Right.
Done before. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And then later on, we're going to recommend some cool stuff that we've been getting into, geeky stuff that we want you to check out. And so that's basically what we do. But to go back to tradition, I have to ask you, how's it going?
It's a going.
It's a going. Yeah.
It's a going.
Yeah, we're like 2/3 of the way through summer already.
It's insane. It's going to be over before we know it. Next thing you know, it's going to be Christmas.
Oh, God, don't say that.
I know.
Don't say that. We're only just finally getting some consistently warm
nice
weather.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. We're in the Midwest here, and it's been just
up, down, up, down, up, down,
yeah,
up,
like that
down,
song,
yeah.
up, down. Yeah, it's just been all over the place. I am not, as much as I love Christmas and I love Thanksgiving and I love Halloween, I love all that stuff.
Not ready for it.
I just want to stave it off a little while longer, just a little while longer so that I can enjoy. I mean, I only just got in my pool for the first time like a few days ago.
Did you really?
Yeah. So come on, give me a break. Just when you're just gonna give us a break, okay? But yeah, man, let's not dick around.
Dawdle, let's do this.
Yeah, because you know me, I'm a dawdler.
Yes, you are.
I know.
I want to get to my favorite part of the whole show.
Oh,
I want you to hit that blue button over
is this your favorite part?
It is.
Boy, it's been a minute.
It has.
It is. It's been a while.
I'm so excited.
It's been a while because here's the section where we talk about all the things that are happening out there in the entertainment industry and related stuff, and we like to call it...
What's shaking, bacon?
It will never get old.
It doesn't
Ever.
get old. Yep, this is the What's Shaking Bacon. So we tell you about what's been shaken, bacon.
In the bacon.
Yeah, it's the bacon that's shaking out there and everything. And we've got some good, we've got some bad. We're going to start it off because here we go. We finally come back and it's like, how are we, coming out the gate? We're coming out the gate with...
Some bad news.
Some bad news. Jeez.
But it goes up from there.
Yeah, it does. But
and then it ends on a down. Well, possibly. We'll see.
Yeah, but I feel like we need to talk about this because this just happened.
It's huge, especially for our generation.
It really is. And it is the fact that Paul Reubens, otherwise known to most people out there as Pee Wee Herman, passed away this week. Age 70.
Yep.
So he passed away on July 30th. He had cancer. I guess he'd been suffering with it for a while now.
Yeah, like 6 years.
Yeah, exactly. But he didn't let anybody know.
Yep.
Which I get, I mean, it's so hard to be in the public eye as it is. But then when you're dealing with something like that, I don't blame him for not wanting to let everybody know and have to deal.
No, this is private. He deserves some privacy.
Yeah, exactly. And especially since this poor guy's he's had some issues in the past with privacy and all that stuff with the infamous movie theater incident back in the 90s and then other things that happened. But yeah, he came out and I've actually got he prepared like a little statement that went out on Instagram after he passed, and he said, quote, "Please accept my apology for not going public with what I've been facing the last 6 years. I have always felt a huge amount of love and respect from my friends, fans, and supporters. I have loved you all so much and enjoyed making art for you."
That's nice.
Yeah, he kept it real simple and everything. I've read a bunch of little quotes and testimonials that people in the industry that knew him well have said, and man, people feel really strongly about him. He had some really, really dear friends. I never knew that he actually went to school with
Katie Seagal.
Yeah, did you read that?
I saw that one. Yep.
That was super cool. Yeah, she shared some
she dropped out and
right.
yeah,
Right.
They were roomies or close to roomies because she was always with them. And
Yeah.
that's awesome.
They would hang out all the time, and Tim Burton came out and said that he pretty much credits Paul Reubens for
getting a start. That's awesome.
really getting his start as a director.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure or something like
Yep,
that.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Yeah, have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I like that better than I did the TV show.
I did as well.
Okay.
Yeah, the TV show. I had a lot of friends that were really into Pee-wee's Playhouse and stuff. I mean, especially, I was a teenager when that came out. So for a lot of teens and college age kids and stuff like that, Pee-wee's Playhouse was big with them because it was for kids, but it wasn't, it had that really weirdo
kind of like adult.
Adult sort of
cartoons now, like Shrek and stuff like that.
Right.
It's for kids, but it's also not for kids.
Yeah, and he kind of helped pioneer that, because that was pretty new at the time. It was not typical for a 19-year-old college student to be a fervent fan of a Saturday morning, series like that. But it was so different. It had sort of a Frank Zappa-esque kind of quality to it, pretty kind of trippy and everything. But, so could you say you were a fan of his? As an actor even, not even just necessarily Pee-wee, but just Paul Reubens in general.
Yeah, I enjoyed him. I think my favorite role with him, I don't know if you remember or not, but he was on Murphy Brown as one of her assistants, her many, many assistants.
Wow.
Or secretary. And it kind of was Pee-wee Herman. He's all over the place and spastic and everything. And it's hilarious. I think he had 6 episodes or something.
Wow. I don't remember that at all.
No. I guess he was the channel's our nephew or something like that, so it was pulling a favor, and he was really great at first, and then it kind of went off the rails quickly as Pee Wee Herman would.
He would, yeah.
So.
Well, see, for me, my main connection with Pee Wee was from the Cheech and Chong movies because, as I've talked about in past episodes on our channel, I watched the Cheech and Chong movies when they were new, starting with Cheech and Chong's next movie back in 1980. My dad got it on videotape back in 80, 81 somewhere. And I was like 7 or 8 years old. And my dad would let me watch it with he and his friends.
Oh my gosh.
I had no
you have no business
watching Cheech and Chong's next movie. I mean, every facet of that movie was not made for children.
No.
Like between the drugs and the sex and the language and just the crazy shit that went on. But yeah, I associated, for me, that's how I knew Pee Wee Herman, because I watched that movie many times. And then shortly thereafter, Nice Dreams came out when he's doing cocaine under the table or whatever with Chong and everything and talk about hamburger and that whole shtick. And then he winds up in the loony bin and all that stuff.
Balls itch.
Yeah.
It kills me every time.
I love it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm not sorry. And that to me, so that was, my association with that character was an adult humor thing. So later, when like Pee Wee's Big Adventure came out and stuff, I was like, oh wow, weird, that's that dude that was, like I said, doing blow with Cheech and Chong and everything. And then they gave him a cartoon, like a kid's series, and I was like, oh, like really? Because he's not a kid's. He's not a kid's character to me, but he did a great job.
Well, yes.
Yeah, he did a great job with doing it. And the more I learned about what he wanted to do with it and his ideas with it and how he wanted to retain his kind of, sensibilities, but make it properly like kid friendly and all that stuff was brilliant and admirable. And I liked him in a bunch of different stuff. He was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was in one of my favorite movies, Mystery Men, which is did you ever see Mystery Men?
No, I have not.
Oh, that's a great movie. You need to see that movie. It's one of those like flies under the radar movies now. Like it was popular for a hot second back in 98 or whatever it was, but it was Ben Stiller, Janine Garofalo, Hank Azaria.
Oh, wow.
Paul Rubin. Yeah, great cast. And it's like these superhero people that live in a time where kind of like The Boys, where it's like superheroes are a thing and there's all sorts of superheroes out there and they're like these misfits that want so badly to be a superhero team, but either they have no powers or their powers suck. Paul Rubin's power is his character name is he's the spleen.
Oh God.
So his whole thing is like if you pull his finger, he can let out like massive amounts of flatulence.
That's a You movie.
You'll like it too.
Okay.
Trust me. It's really funny.
I'll check it out one day.
Our hats off to Paul Rubens. You are definitely going to be missed by a lot of people, and saw a lot of people really mourning his loss. It's like a part of people's youth and childhood really gone with him,
especially our generations.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see you in the next world, Pee Wee. Moving on to speaking of the afterlife and things like that. Meg, you are excited about something.
I am. A new movie just came out last week.
Okay.
Late last week. It's the new Disney Haunted Mansion movie. I'm so excited. I mean, look at this cast: Rosario Dawson,
right?
Owen Wilson, Danny fucking DeVito, Jamie Lee Curtis, Tiffany Haddish, Jared Leto, and Lakeith Stanfield.
That's a great cast.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Wow.
And I watched it. Wow. But
have you watched like trailers?
I've seen the 2 trailers, and I saw one where the cast were talking about working with each other and how incredible it was. And Jamie Lee Curtis is like, I've never worked with an ensemble like this. It's been quite a privilege to do this.
That's nice.
So yeah, it seems a lot darker than the prior one with Eddie Murphy.
Right.
But I saw just in the trailers, a lot of it, they're putting more of the ride.
Okay.
Which came first anyway, into this movie.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like they have the army guy, the guy in the armor. Not the army, but the guy in the armor.
Yeah.
and stuff in the beginning, and that's on the ride.
Okay.
They had the stretching elevator.
The stretching room thing?
And stuff like that in there.
I remember that.
Hopefully I'll get to see the hitchhiking ghosts, who are my favorites.
I know you love those ghosts.
I do believe the guy with the headless guy,
right?
The lantern and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be in there.
No kidding.
So I'm very, very excited. I think even Winona Ryder makes an appearance in it as somebody. There's a couple of others, like big names.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Well, it doesn't surprise me they're doing this because I thought that they did a really good job with Jungle Cruise.
Oh my gosh, that's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, you do.
I
like
do.
that
I
one.
watch that incredibly much. It's kind of sad, but it's yes, I absolutely adore it.
That's such a you movie.
It is.
Like through and through.
And I think this will too, because like Owen Wilson, I love his sense of humor.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito is.
Yeah, you're a DeVito fan.
I love that man.
Rosario's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tiffany or Jamie Lee Curtis is hilarious.
They're all good, man.
They're all what I saw, like Keith Stanfield, his part's really cute.
Yeah.
and funny. The candle, he's like, "Don't go out," and it's like the candle's alive. The bad guy like makes some noise, and the candle like extinguishes. I was like, God dang it, you left me. Now I'm in the dark with this thing. So
that's fun.
I'm very excited for this. I adore Eddie Murphy's version.
Okay.
But I think that's going to be more kiddie, and this is going to be
a little more
adult.
A little more adult.
So
humor.
I'm hoping that they're so different. It's going to be like a whole different movie for me.
I'm sure it will be.
So, and it seems like before Eddie Murphy has his family that moves into it, which this one is a family moving in, but it seems like they're calling in experts to help solve this mystery of why it's so haunted.
Right.
So it's a little different take on it.
Right.
Which I'm very excited for.
Cool.
So I'm going this week to see it, and I can't wait.
Yep, you and Jess going to see that?
We are. I got a hot date.
There you go. Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, that's fun. I'll see it eventually, I'm sure. Okay, let's move on.
Moving on.
So as we talked about in our intro and everything, one of the things that we love to do the Geeking Squad podcast specifically for is we love to take from the things that you guys post in the squad yourself. You post memes and polls and all sorts and just general questions about stuff and everything. Well, somebody posted, and I don't remember who posted it. Do you?
I do not.
I apologize because it was a while ago, but somebody posted in the squad one of those meme poll kind of things. And this one was, who would you party with 80s edition? And it gave 4 choices. And the choices were Marty McFly from Back to the Future, David from The Lost Boys, Ferris Bueller from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and John Bender from The Breakfast Club. Now, those were the 4 choices. So we are going to answer this ourselves. We encourage you to, in the comments and things like that, make sure you put your answers as well. Let us know what your choices are. But Meg, I'm going to put it to you. So out of those 4, and if you can't pick any of those 4, I will allow you to pick somebody else.
Well, I went back and forth on 2 of them.
Okay.
I was like, well, this one would be a lot of fun, but this would be really cool to be able to do this. And I had to first, as hot as David is, I had to cut him out.
Okay.
And
yeah,
John
because that's
Bender.
just kind of deadly.
Yeah, deadly. And John Bender, I had to cut him out. If I want to hang out with some moody boys, I got you and Matt.
Oh.
So I got that already.
Thanks.
So I brought it down to Ferris Bueller and Marty McFly.
Yeah, those are more your speed.
Yeah. So I love Ferris Bueller because we can go out and party with cars, cool cars, play around with some dead people too, apparently.
Oh, jeez.
And I don't know, just go out and have a great time and not give a crap about anything. And then there's Marty McFly, who I could travel in time with and see stuff I couldn't possibly have ever seen before.
Right.
So
you got to pick
that's
one.
just cool. I love that. I got to go Marty McFly.
That's who I would have picked for you.
Yeah.
I would have figured it was going to be Marty McFly. Yeah, that seems more your speed, your kind of humor.
Yeah, going back in time and introducing people to some cool music. And,
yeah, going to the 50s and that seems Ferris Bueller I could see you hanging with, but I feel like Ferris might be a little bit too rule breaky for you. At times, or at times you'd be like,
times where you're just
you don't necessarily mind being in the in the car driving fast with the top down thing, you know. But some of the other things, I think you'd be like, you know, this is pretty risky.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm not okay with this. Let's
Yeah.
do something else. But what about you?
For me, I don't know. I guess it's funny because it's sort of the opposite for me. I'm more drawn towards David and John Bender.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I like all four of those characters. All four of these are favorite movies of mine. But I guess this is kind of a basic answer because I have to go with John Bender from The Breakfast Club because they're saying, who would you party with, you know, in the 80s? I pretty much did party with John Bender. Not that specific character and not that actor. But I mean, I knew a lot of John Benders, and I mean like people that literally acted, dressed, everything just like him. That was kind of my crowd, you know, was those guys. So it's sort of a given.
Okay. I did not expect that.
Yeah, that's sort of a given. You know, David from the Lost Boys. Lost Boys were really cool. I went through a phase back in when that movie came out, 87, 88. Oh, man, I thought that was the coolest movie on the planet.
Absolutely. It's a great movie.
You know, and I mean, it was all these long-haired vampire dudes, you know, with leather trench coats and, you know, listening to hard rock and stuff. And it was like, well, okay, you know, this is my crowd. I don't know. I'm squeamish about blood. You know, I don't really like blood. I don't really have any urge to drink people's blood, and I really don't have any urge to be immortal. So that sort of ruins it. If the Lost Boys, if they were just like a bunch of dudes, you know, hanging out, then that would probably be
It was
cooler.
like Peter Pan's Lost Boys.
Yeah, if they were a little bit more like that, but these like vampire guys, no, I can't do it. Yeah, so for me, it would be John Bender. If I had to pick a second choice, if for some reason like Bender, you know, took off or something, would be Ferris Bueller.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ferris Bueller, you know, because
I did some of that crap too.
Huh?
That's some of the stuff you did too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, Ferris Bueller is, you know, that depicts high school at a very specific time in the 80s. And that was my time. That was when I was in high school. So I can relate to so much of it. Plus, Ferris's girlfriend, was super hot. Mia Sara was one of my favorite actresses because she was in this. She was in Legend, which is another favorite movie of mine. I loved Mia Sara, so that's another bonus. Plus, Cameron is hilarious. You know, like I still on a regular basis quote Cameron lines from that movie and everything. So yeah, that would probably be. I'm somewhere right in between Ferris and John Bender. That's kind of. I think that sort of suits me. That would be my choices. Is there anybody real quick you could think of off the top of your head that you would put that wasn't on the list?
Not that I could think of at the moment.
Yeah, not really 80s. If it was like 70s, I could see you being like, well, I want to hang out with Danny Zuko or something.
Right.
Like that,
That's what I was thinking. It's like Grease or...
Right. Oh, no, I know. No, I think I have the answer for you.
Oh, Indiana Jones?
No.
That's 80s.
Yeah, that is 80s, but I think they were looking at this as supposed to be more like, yeah, of course, leave it to you. You would hang out with like the 40-year-old professor guy in the 80s.
It's on going looking for buried treasure and stuff in all these cool exotic locations. Heck yeah, I am.
Fair enough. But I think this is supposed to be more like if you were like an 18-year-old back then, what other teenager would you? But I know who it would be.
Who's that?
It would be Johnny from Dirty Dancing.
He's not a teenager. That's a full-grown man.
I don't think he was supposed to be a full-grown man.
I think he's supposed to be in his 20s.
I think maybe at most he's supposed to be like 20. I think the problem was Patrick Swayze was a grown-ass man. But no, there's no way he wasn't supposed to be that young.
How's he going to be a professional dancer and all of that? Oh, no.
At 20? Absolutely. Especially back then and everything.
No.
I mean, Baby was only supposed to be like 16, if that.
I don't know. I think he's supposed to be up in his early 20s.
I think you're wrong. I don't think he's supposed to be quite that old.
All right, we're going to have to Google this. Anybody know?
We'll have to
set us straight.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought he's like 25.
No way. Do you really think her dad would have at the end?
He didn't want him anyway.
But he certainly wouldn't have allowed it at the end there and been like, sure, you can hang with my daughter that's going into junior in high school.
That's how love works.
Shit.
It's a movie.
Shit. 25 years old. he ain't proven shit in that regard. Yeah, I think you're wrong there. But anybody, if you know, post in the comments and let us know exactly how old was the Johnny character in Dirty Dancing supposed to be? Because I think he was only supposed to be like 20 years old. You know,
I never got that from watching it.
Okay. Anyway, all right. So moving on, we are moving on to something that I'm sure a lot of people are excited about, or at least intrigued about. I'm both, and I'm also extremely apprehensive about for several reasons. And that is the announcement that October 13th, we will be receiving a new movie known as The Exorcist Believer. And it is a sequel. It is meant as a sequel to the original Exorcist movie.
I can't believe you even watched this.
Oh, man. Yeah. So here's the thing. Again, for people, some of you that listened to us in the past, you'll know what the deal is here, but others, if you don't know. So I have the ultimate love-hate with The Exorcist. I think it's one of the most brilliant movies ever made. I think that everything about that movie is perfect. As some people say, like, you know how some people say, like, describe a perfect TV show, or what's a perfect movie, or a perfect record, or you know what I mean? Something like that, where there's just like nothing you would change, nothing that could have been done better. This is a perfect movie. It's so sublime. It's so well done, which is why it was so effective in utterly scaring the living shit out of everybody. I know there's some people that are going to say, like, oh, that movie never scared me. Okay, cool. For a lot of people out there, it's considered one of the most scary movies of all time. For some people, they still say it's the most scary movie. And a lot of it has to do with just all of the pieces coming together. It's the way they use silence. It's the way they pace things in there. It's just the overall,
the way they frame everything.
The way they frame it. The acting is incredible in that movie. The writing is incredible.
The music, the score.
The music. Oh God. Yeah. See, even just thinking about all of it now in my head, I'm getting creeped out. So the problem is I love this movie. Like, I think it's brilliant. I've watched it dozens and dozens of times. I've probably, it wouldn't be a stretch to say I've seen this movie like 150 times or more, you know, at least. The other problem I have is that this movie terrifies the shit out of me to the point where, like, I can't watch it now. Like, it didn't bother me as much when I was 13 years old as it does now, and you know, as a full-grown middle-aged man. Like, this movie gets in my head really bad. And I still have nightmares about it on the regular. I can't even look at Linda Blair's face, especially when she's in the possessed form and everything. Like, I literally see that face everywhere I go. Like, there's some kind of weird mental thing with me with that movie. But I have to admit, I've seen every sequel they've ever done. I saw the horrible Exorcist 2, The Heretic. I guess it wasn't horrible, but it was a letdown in comparison. Exorcist 3 is a brilliant movie. Really, really good movie. Very different tone, and it's more like a satanic murder mystery kind of thing. I don't know. It's
interesting.
It's a different vibe. Very dark, really well done movie, but it's not. It's very different from the first Exorcist. And then they came out with all those like prequel ones where it was like showing like Father Merrin when he was younger, when he first encountered Pazuzu on his expeditions over in Africa and or in the desert or wherever he was. And they're all good to different levels. So this Exorcist Believer, what makes this interesting is that for those that have seen the trailers and the pictures and stuff, you know that once again it deals with a girl being possessed. Actually, it deals with two girls being possessed that are like best friends, and it's that part of it is very interesting, the way they're doing this and the way they kind of almost act as one entity, and
that's cool and creepy.
It is very cool and creepy. The premise of it is that the father of the one girl, I guess, reaches out to Ellen Burstyn's character, which was Regan McNeil's mother in the first movie. She's gone on to write books about her experience with it, when, you know, when her daughter was younger and all that kind of stuff. So somebody reaches out to her to say, hey, look, you're like the only person that seems to get it. A doctor, just like in the first movie, doctors think it's bullshit. You know, the priests think it's bullshit. They won't deal with it. You seem to understand and everything. So Ellen Burstyn's actually in it as Miss McNeil, and she comes into it and she's like giving them advice on here's what to do and not do and all this kind of stuff. I've watched the trailer. And there are aspects of it that watching the trailer, I was like, oh, that's kind of corny, you know, like there's certain things that I'm just like, oh, that seems like it's trying too hard, you know, kind of corny, typical horror movie stuff. But then there was other stuff in the trailer that I was like, yeesh, okay, that's going to fuck with me. I am eager, but hesitantly eager for this. Now, the downside of this is that apparently they've shown this movie to test audiences. And from what I've seen, feedback on the test showings was not good. A lot of people, I guess, were saying that this was a letdown. It was a bummer and everything. I was doing some research and watching other YouTube channels and listening to what bloggers and different people were saying and their thoughts about the movie and all this stuff. And I'm seeing a lot of negativity. And there's some of it that I agree with. This is one of those movies that I think it's very, very, very hard to follow up. It's very hard to nowadays to make something that's going to capture that lightning in a bottle again. You know what I mean? That they got with it. I think that there's, even if they try to do stuff like they did in the first movie, it's not going to translate the same way now in 2023 compared to 1973. So I think that's really tricky. I don't necessarily know that anybody wanted a sequel. You know what I mean? I don't think there was a lot of people that were like, you know what we really need is another sequel to The Exorcist. I don't know. But I do think it's sort of disconcerting that a lot of people are really shitting all over this movie because this is what everybody does nowadays. They're shitting all over this movie and they haven't even seen it yet. You know? And I think that's a bummer. And I'm sick of them doing that. They've been doing that to everything lately. They've been doing that to everything.
Doing it for years since we've been doing this podcast. How many times have we said,
yeah,
people have been bagging this movie. We thought it was great.
But it's getting worse. Like I had hoped this was going to be a trend that would chill, but it's actually getting worse. It's just the thing now for people to just shit all over things with minimal or no information on it. And so it's like these movies or these shows or whatever are like doomed. They're doomed to fail because there's so much negativity towards it. And I'm going to go into this with, even though, like I said, there's things about it and there's things I saw in the trailer that I was like, I don't know about that. But I'm going to go into it with an open mind. I do want to go see it when it comes out in the theater. I think I will feel safer being in a theater with a bunch of people. I went and saw The Exorcist when they re-released it back in the late 90s. Nick and I went and saw it, my best buddy Nick, and I went and saw it at the theater back in 97, 98, whatever it was. And it helped being there with him, and especially because we of course we were laughing about things, because that's where jokers.
You two can't take anything seriously.
No, exactly. But even that being said, we were both still sitting there going, oh, dude, fuck. Because that was when they added new scenes to The Exorcist and stuff.
Okay, so it was a little
that
different.
Was when they added in the spider walk scene down the stairs.
Okay. Nope,
yeah.
we're good.
Yeah. So I saw that for the first time in the theater, and I was like, oh, dude. Yeah, Nick and I looked at each other and we were like, dude.
I could see Nick like crawling over the back of the seat.
Yeah, Nick was
as
just
a reaction.
Yeah, Nick was just like, Jesus, man. Like we thought it was cool, but we were just like, man, that's messed up, like. So yeah, I'd like to know from the people out there, are you interested in seeing The Exorcist Believer, or are you pretty much automatically doing like the nah, I'm gonna pass thing? Or are you willing to at least give it a shot? Because my overall thought right now, just based on what I've seen, what little information I have, is this. I have a feeling it's going to be a decent movie that is probably going to not do as well as it could have because they insisted on making it attached to The Exorcist. Whereas had this just been, and I understand they had to do that if they're bringing Ellen Burstyn's character back and all that, you got to make it The Exorcist. But I feel like had they not done this basic concept and had it kind of be like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, like, hey, what does this remind you of? But it's not necessarily The Exorcist.
It would have done better.
I think it might have done better, but I think that there's a lot of people that are just automatically going to be like, nope, this doesn't measure up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like people that like don't want to go see the Eagles now because it doesn't have Glenn Fry and Randy Meisner and all them in it, and it's like, no,
you are
dude,
missing out because it's a phenomenal show.
Right. It's like no, dude, like the Eagles are fucking legit. Like they're really good now, and people are like, yeah, but it's not the Eagles, like they shouldn't be called the Eagles because it's only like, half of them or whatever, or two of them or whatever it is. It's that kind of mentality with people. And I think that's going to affect this movie, unfortunately. But we'll see. If and when I go see it, I will definitely be talking about it again on here. So, All right. Enough of talking about that because I'm sure I'm going to have nightmares about it again tonight because that's what I do. Let's move on to something cool and something that we are both excited about.
Yes, we might be talking in depth about this one.
Yeah, when it comes out, what are we talking about?
We're talking about Star Wars Ahsoka.
Yes.
AKA
Rebels series.
Wars.
Rebels Series 5. Yeah.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah, so we're both fans of Star Wars Rebels.
Yes.
And when that show came out, like we both kind of were like, okay, cool, but we weren't that interested in it. I thought the Clone Wars was good. I appreciate it more now. I've gone back and watched it retrospectively. I've gone back and watched it, and I like the Clone Wars a lot more now than when it first came out because I was just not that interested in Anakin. I was like, I was too jaded by things from the prequel movies and stuff. And everything, but I've since come to appreciate the Anakin character much more. I've even come to appreciate Hayden Christensen much more, and everything. Like, I don't think he and the character and stuff was the problem. There was other problems with that.
Yes,
they rectified a lot of that with Clone Wars, and they definitely made it awesome with the stories and the characters they came up with for Rebels. Rebels, again, it's because it's animated. It's not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah, it took a while. It's a weird animation. I don't know what style you would call that. But it took a minute to adjust to that.
Right. Yeah, it's its own style.
But once you did, you didn't even notice it anymore. I absolutely adore this series.
Yeah, it's really good. It's got great characters. Sabine Wren.
Love her.
Ezra Bridger. Zeb. Hera.
Chopper.
And Chopper. And then, of course, the Master Jedi, Kanan Jarrus.
Yes.
And all of them. So everybody's coming back other than Kanan. And I won't explain why. But they're all coming back in this because the Rebels series was a cliffhanger. It left us hanging. Like, well, what's going on? What's going on with Ezra Bridger? What's going on with Grand Admiral Thrawn and all that? And we heard Ahsoka mention Thrawn when she faced off against Elsbeth in
The Mandalorian.
In The Mandalorian and stuff. And that was our first hint.
Like, ooh,
what is like, this? Wait a minute. She's still looking for Thrawn? Like, because that was what happened in Rebels and stuff. And yep, sure enough, Filoni, he didn't say it for the longest time, but now he's basically come out and he's like, yeah, this is essentially season 5 of Rebels. It's just live action, which is awesome. And everything I've seen, the trailers I've seen and stuff, I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
Yes. I cannot wait.
They cast it really well. Mm-hmm. They even kept Lars Mikkelsen.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Which is really important because I feel like he's the one character from that whole show, except maybe Zeb, who I think was really important too. I think Zeb and Thrawn, I love the fact that they're keeping those same actors who voiced those characters because
very unique voices,
right? And their delivery and everything. It's like, yeah. I mean, can you imagine Zeb not sounding and being like Zeb? No. That wouldn't be right.
No.
Right. Exactly.
That'd be weird. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Filoni's got to be doing Chopper's voice again.
Hope so. I can't wait for that little asshole. I love him.
Yeah, you do love Chopper. Yeah, we're really looking forward to this. So it stars, of course, Rosario Dawson. Dawson. She comes back as Ahsoka Tano. They've been filming this for a while, and this has been which is good to me. I'm glad that it sounds like they really took their time and that they're going to do it well. This isn't, because some of the things they've done lately, that Disney Plus has done lately, people have kind of accused them of like, this feels a little, some of these things have been a little rushed and phoned in and stuff. But everything I'm seeing so far does not seem like that's going to be the case with this. Elsbeth comes back and everything. Yes, we've got the Inquisitors coming back. We've from Rebels, like, and from Obi-Wan and the Obi-Wan series, all that stuff. So yeah, there's going to be 8 episodes, and it premieres on August 23rd of 2023. And our goal is that we're going to try and cover the whole series. We're going to try to cover all 8 episodes. We'll figure out how, if we can do it every week. I mean, we did it pretty good when we did the last season of Picard.
Yep.
We pulled it off.
We can do it.
Yeah, I think
you're going to be out of town part of it, so that's going to screw it up.
Yeah,
so
we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll get some. Maybe maybe another thing we want to do is start getting maybe some
guest hosts,
guest people in here. Yes. That like to talk about Star Wars. Eric Kiki, I'm speaking to you if you're listening, buddy. We might get you on here. Other people. So we'll see what Matt's doing, if he's available. You never know. But yeah.
I have been listening to the Thrawn series.
Oh, have you?
I have.
Oh, cool.
I'm almost done with the first book.
Okay.
It's whatever this new series is.
Right.
And it's supposed to go along with this. And it kind of tells
it's this new, okay.
Like how Thrawn became part of the Empire.
Yeah, this is more like a prequel.
And how he kind of up to the ranks, and basically how Thrawn is the way he is.
Okay.
How did he become Thrawn? What drives him? What's his thought processes and stuff? Because it's really cool. It's like he's talking, and then you can kind of hear it in his head. It's like,
his thought process,
his thoughts, and how he's reading this person's body language,
and he's really good at
and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and it sounds just like Lars.
No kidding.
So if it's not him, somebody can replicate it very well.
Wow.
But it's very well done. It's very interesting because it has like when they have the battles and stuff like that, you hear shooting.
Oh, wow.
And there's kind of like constant like drone in the background, like you're on a ship. And
so it's almost like a teleplay, like a radio.
Yes, it is, because
like radio drama.
Even when it gets to like intense parts, like the narrator like speeds up and gets louder, and it's very interesting.
Oh, that's
I'm
awesome.
really enjoying it. So
yeah, and I don't know anything, so that's going to be great, because then
in case
you're going to be providing like the background on that. So that's awesome.
I am prepping for Ahsoka.
Good. Yeah, we're very eagerly looking forward to this. I have one last thing I want to talk about before we move into our next section.
All right.
I know our What's Shaking Bacon's always so long, but there's, first time back, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'll keep this kind of short, but it was interesting that normally what we would have done on an episode like this, especially given the time frame, is we would have been talking about all kinds of stuff that had been announced and shown and, surprised people with at San Diego Comic-Con 2023. However, because of the SAG strike and everything, they really didn't do much this year. They weren't allowed. There was pretty much no trailers shown, and
can't promote anything right
panels
now.
And all that stuff. Yeah, and I get it, and I understand. I'm not complaining about it, but it's just interesting for the first time in years to be like, oh wow, well, there's not a whole lot to talk about. There is some really cool news that was coming out regarding comic book stuff and everything, which I think I'm going to talk a little bit about in the next episode. But it was just interesting because you had people like veteran comic book genius Jim Lee came out and said, yeah, finally at long last, San Diego Comic-Con belongs to comic books again. It was like, unfortunately, Jim, I don't think it's going to stay that way. Once they resolve this, hopefully they resolve this, they're going to be back with a vengeance. But it is kind of a shame. I miss how it's gotten away so much from comic books. I mean, yeah, okay, I know they focus on comic book related movies and cartoons and things like that. But yeah, comic books themselves, the actual media of comic books just doesn't garner that much attention and interest anymore. This isn't the 1990s. This isn't Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane and all them guys like, prime time like it used to be. So
It might come back. Everything is coming back from the 90s especially, so.
We'll see. I've hoped that comic books were going to make some sort of comeback in the way that like vinyl did.
Right.
You know, and it could still possibly happen. I'm a little more skeptical about that. I think part of that is that could be a whole episode unto itself, so I can't really get into it here. But I think there's various reasons why I think that's going to be a tough act to get going there. But anyway, so yeah, if anybody's like, well, how come you're not talking about, SDCC 2023? It's like, well, because there really wasn't that much pertinent to talk about, although I do have a couple of things, and there was some toy stuff and everything that was announced and shown and everything. Some things I already ordered.
Boy.
But yeah, some of this stuff with like the comics and the toys are things that I'm going to touch on in the future, especially once I get my hands on some of these things. So we're not going to be ignoring Comic-Con 2023 completely, but it's going to come later in its due time and everything. I think on that note, let's just take a breather. We've got a little word from our sponsor here.
Yes.
And then we will be back with some real talk for y'all. So here we go.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
Squad Talk. I don't know who
So serious.
that creep is. It's me. But anyway, we are back with some Squad Talk, and this is where we talk about geeky related topics that are going on in like current events and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And we've got something that's been going on, it just happened in the last week or so. And what is that, Meg?
It is the government talking about UAP sightings and doing away with the stigma that goes along with that. So this is probably as political as we are going to ever be on this show.
Yeah, and it's still not really political.
Yeah, we're going to not go that far into it. But
I mean, it deals with the government and stuff like that, but doesn't really deal with politics per se. Yeah, for people that don't know, I'm sure most of you do, a UAP is essentially the new terminology for a UFO.
Yes.
A UFO has had a stigma, as you said, attached to it, where people automatically think of little green aliens and,
and
flying
you
saucers.
saw and you're out there saying you saw everything and you swear up and down and have all these details, then you must be a loony. Right.
And so they changed it at some point back to not be UFO, but a UAP, which essentially is saying that, it's like unidentified aerial projectile or something.
Yeah, it's not
like
even
that.
aerial because they wanted it to include like water too.
That's right. That's true. Yeah.
Forget what the A word is.
Yeah,
but
I'll tell you what the A word is. We've done a whole episode in the past, and if you're interested in checking that out, it is in our library there. Mm-hmm. On YouTube and on Spotify and elsewhere if you want to hear us talk about it. But we've talked quite a bit in the past about all of this stuff, about aliens and alien conspiracies and theories. And, back it was pre-COVID, we had the big reveal, you could say, of all of a sudden we found out about a lot of footage that was... I guess it wasn't a big reveal, but it just sort of got all culled together, and there was some attention was brought towards it of like footage of these UAPs that Navy and Air Force personnel had taken record of through cameras and things like that. And it got leaked out to the public where we could all see it. And people basically, I think the government kind of had their hand forced of having to answer for this. Of
right.
Being like, well, what is this? Because from the looks of it, this doesn't look like technology that any of us are familiar with. So this either means it's extraterrestrial,
Right.
or if it's not extraterrestrial, then who terrestrial is making this technology? Who's got control of it? Because it's some pretty serious shit.
Yeah. Either way, we needed more information.
We need more
We
answers.
need to understand.
And Congress is at the point now where they're sort of like, hey, we want to know. Like, we need to know, because we're the ones that have to answer to the public, and we're the ones that are trying to keep track of where the funds are going for things. Like, who's funding any of this stuff? Why are things being just under rug swept? You know what I mean? Like, why is that? Why does this keep happening like this? Why
do people say their careers and their families are being ruined for coming out and being whistleblowers? And
yeah,
it's like that's not what we do.
Yeah, exactly. Now there's that one guy, and he was actually, before I get ahead of myself. So they just had, back on, what was this, like on the 26th of July, something like that? The end of July here, so just a few days ago. They had some hearings before a panel and everything, where some people had stepped up and answered questions about what they knew, and things like what you were just saying, like about being asked questions by congressmen and women about, is it true that people are kind of encouraged or even threatened to not come forward and talk about this stuff? And is there more than we've been told about? All this kind of stuff. And it's pretty interesting, some of the stuff that came out. One of the people who was in attendance, I don't believe he wasn't asked to speak because he's a little nutty, but was documentary film director Jeremy Corbell. But he came out, and he was there. Of course, he attended it, and he said that he felt it was like a pretty historic day, that this was happening. They had the main guy that talked, that at least I saw, was former military official David Grush. Is that how you pronounce it?
Sure.
You're like, whatever. We're going with Grush. I think it's Grush. David Grush, and he testified in front of Congress about what he knew about UFO sightings. Grush is basically, to put it bluntly, he's a former military intelligence officer that now is essentially, this sounds like a nasty term, and to some people it is, he's a whistleblower. But he told the House lawmakers that they're being kept in the dark about UAPs, which, okay, I got it here.
Anomalous. There it is.
Yeah, anomalous. That's the word. Yeah. Unidentified anomalous phenomena. He's saying that executive branch agencies have withheld information about these objects for years. Grush was an intelligence officer in the Air Force for 14 years, and as well as a National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. And so he was called to appear before the House Oversight Committee alongside two other former fighter pilots who actually had firsthand experience with seeing and filming and everything these UAPs.
Right.
I mean, we've talked about all of this before and everything, about we're not going to.
We've even talked about these videos.
Yeah, we've talked about this with the infamous Tic Tac.
Yes.
They call it the Tic Tac because it looks like a flying
Tic Tac
chrome Tic Tac thing, and the way it could just stop in midair. It's flying at like hundreds of miles an hour and then just stop. Immediately just stop and then like change course. It's like we have no technology
that can do that.
That we know of. And so the question is, it's like, well, if we do have that technology, why is that being kept secret? Who's paying for that kind of tech? Because that kind of technology would have to cost billions of dollars.
If not more.
Yeah. To develop and everything. And it's Congress's job to be like, well, wait a minute. Where's that coming from? Who's funding that? So this isn't just all simply about people like looking for little green men. It's about like, hey, look.
It's security.
Right. It's just
national security, basically.
Right. It's an overall question about security.
And people not being stigmatized, trying to come forward. Because even like they kept asking Grush as these questions, he's like, I can't reveal that publicly. I can't reveal that publicly. So they're like having these committees in private just so they can get the information.
But I then heard that even then, when he was trying to go and talk to some of these Congress people, like in private, to have like a private session with them and everything, even then there was like obstruction going on where they were trying to like prevent, there was, I don't know who or how or whatever, but there was like things like stepping up to sort of like prevent that.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Right?
What's up, dudes? That's even more skinky. What's the word I'm looking for?
It's more sneaky and shady.
Yeah.
This still brings me back to something that we've debated about, and it's every time this comes up, and I think you and I are of different minds on this, and it's like people like this filmmaker guy, this Jeremy Corbell, you know, his whole thing is that public deserves to know, they need to know, they have to know the answers to this and all this stuff. I mean, I don't know. Like, it would be cool to know. For some of us, for a lot of us, it would be really cool to know. And I think on certain levels, it's important to know. But I firmly believe I'm one of those people the government likes, you know, as like, oh, that's a good citizen.
What I don't know doesn't kill me.
Well, I'm one of those people that thinks that it's better when the public doesn't know everything. I think we don't need to know everything. I don't, you know, even Congress and stuff. Maybe I'm too Mission Impossible-y or something like that, but I just sort of believe that there's times when there needs to be some things that are kept under wraps, you know, because it's for the good of national security and overall safety. I mean, again, so this is something we could talk about, and I'm not going to get into politics, but I'll just kind of address something generally, because since the last time we talked about this, a lot of things have happened in the world, whether it was COVID, election things, just different things that have happened in society, protests, various things like that. We've seen over the last 3 years just how incredibly fragile society is. Like, there is a fragility there that I think people didn't know, and to a certain degree still aren't completely aware of.
Right.
And I think to suddenly go and prove to people in this world that it's like, guess what? We are definitively not the only beings in the universe. And not only are we not the only beings, they've been here. You know, they may be here now. And there's all this like stuff like that's going to change a lot of things, and not necessarily for the better. Like, I don't think that it's automatically just going to, like, I think there is a lot of people who this is going to turn the world upside down for them. And I don't think the way they react to it is going to be a good thing. Do you catch my meaning?
I do.
Okay. What's your thoughts on it?
But kind of on the same token as everything that we've been through and the way people have reacted to everything, when they definitively say, yes, there are aliens, they are here, we have them, we have the crafts, we have talked to them, they could be here with us right now, people are not going to believe it.
Well, that's true too.
They will not believe it, even though you have all the proof, because we've seen it again and again and again already.
Well, that's true.
So,
yeah.
And I don't know. I just don't know if it's going to impact as much as it would have before all this happened the past 3 years.
Maybe.
I mean, there will be people that will go off the deep end and create all these cults and have people follow them. And
right.
Of course, there will be that too.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that. I mean, this brings up a lot of questions. Well, I mean, because, like, look, here's the thing. So getting back to Grush for a minute, you know, he served on 2 task forces that the Pentagon had created recently, investigating these UAPs. And he was a part of that until early 2023. And he was telling Congress that he was informed of, and I'm quoting here, a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program, unquote. Now, this man, you know, Grush could be lying. I mean, there's always that that chance, I should say, that he could be full of shit, or he may not be lying, but the people he's talking to could be.
Yeah, because he has never actually seen it. These are all interviews, like 40 different interviews that he's done.
Right.
That he's just taking secondhand and going to Congress with.
Exactly. But I think that Grush, I feel like at the very least, I think he is a man with integrity. Now, whether the people, again, that he's talking to are, I don't know.
We don't know because he hasn't been able to give the information on who he's talking to.
Right. But this is what he was told. Yeah, a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program, which does add up with things that people like Bob Lazar has told us in the past and everything. And Grush said that he was denied access to those programs when he requested it, and he accused the military of misappropriating funds to shield them. So this gets into the whole thing I was saying about Congress being like, oh,
who's paying for this?
Like, yeah. Because that sucks too. You know, like even if I'm like, okay, maybe they should keep this under wraps. If there's money that Congress believes is going to this, that, and the other thing, like other things that money needs to go to, you know, who knows what it could be? It could be to, you know, helping people, you know,
homelessness.
Yeah, it could be to all kinds of things.
Schooling
and it's being diverted over to this, hiding this crash retrieval and reverse engineering program thing. That's not cool.
Right.
Anyway, he also said that he interviewed officials. I don't know who these officials are, but these officials had direct knowledge of aircraft with non-human origins and so-called biologics were recovered from some craft. And I did watch it when they were questioning him about the biologics, and they said, so this was non-human? And he said, yeah, you know, that's what I was told, that this was not human biologics. And it's like, wow, that's a big deal. And that's the kind of stuff that like Corbell was saying. That's why he was saying that it was so historic, because he believes that, again, and I'm quoting Corbell here, that this would change the fabric of our understanding of what it means to be human. And see, that's the kind of thing. I mean, like when you start rocking people to their core like that, that's dangerous. I'm genuinely nervous about what's going to happen because it's going to come out at some point, you know, definitively come out. I'm genuinely nervous about what's going to happen when people find out about this kind of stuff. I mean, back in 1939, people panicked because they heard Orson Welles talking about War of the Worlds. Now, granted, it was people that were supposedly the aliens were attacking. You know, it's still the same premise. It's still the idea that people, I think, are going to panic. There's going to be some panic. There's going to be people that are going to be stoked, but there's going to be a lot of panicked people, and we're going to see some real wacky behavior happen. So
It's going to be Independence Day.
Yeah, you mean like the movie? Yeah, it could be like that. There's just a lot of questions. I mean, I'm even like, okay, what if part of the reason why aliens have been so quiet, so to speak, you know, they haven't revealed themselves like they do ultimately in, you know, Independence Day and invade. Maybe part of it is because they know it's all...
We're not ready. We're a primitive species. They got their own prime directives.
Right, and it's all under wraps. And then all of a sudden, if they're like, oh shit, they know about us, well, now we have to go to next stage of the plan, and who knows what that could be. Yes, I would love it if they were like Vulcans and they were peaceful, and it's like, well, now we'll
But
bond
they could be
with them.
Klingons.
But they could
or Romulans.
Or Borg.
Or Borg, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Borg wouldn't have taken their time to get to know us.
They might have.
I don't think so.
No, well, we're also talking about fictional characters.
They're the Daleks.
Yeah, the Daleks, right, exactly. But the point is we don't know, you know, there could be some sort of treaties that certain people that are in power, you know, the highest up, whatever, might have with these beings to be able to keep the peace. I mean, there's so many possibilities there. I mean, we could write a whole slew of, you know, conspiracy theories about it, and there's no point because that's all they are, is just a bunch of silly conspiracy theories. But the point of the matter is unlike people like our friend Vito, who's like, I want to know, like, fucking let it out there, man. If there's any, like, I want to know all of it. I'm more cautious, and I'm more like, I'm not so sure we're ready. I want to know when I think it's the right time for us to know. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So I'm not totally like bummed that they've been keeping it quiet. I think they have their reasons.
Yeah, and I guess I'm in the middle, where I'm like, if whatever's going to happen is going to happen. What am I going to do to stop it? At least I get to witness it.
I suppose. I suppose.
So,
But anyway.
I got a basement to hide in.
Yeah, that's going to go far. You get to throw a board at it like you guys did at me when you thought I was an alien carrying my Simon light up game. Hitting me in the leg with that. That thing hit me hard too.
Well, I threw it hard.
Yeah, man. He really clocked me in the shin with that, man. But something tells me these aliens may be a little bit tougher to take out than I was,
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But anyway,
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, we'll move on. But I just want to say, so folks, again, we encourage you. Any of your opinions you have about this, what do you think about this whole situation with Congress looking more into the UAPs, the UFOs, and these whistleblowers and stuff stepping up? I want to know your thoughts on it. Like, let us know what you think, because I know there's people that have to have some thoughts or maybe even some insights. I know we got one guy, even if he has insights, he ain't telling us. I know he's not gonna. Right, Jason? He's like, I ain't telling you guys shit. I'm not stupid. You knuckleheads, I can't trust you with nothing.
Nope.
But anyway, so we're gonna move on to something. This is a new segment.
This is new. I'm excited to do this for like 8 years.
Yeah, so it's new to us, but it's not a new thing.
It's been around, yes.
Yeah. It's been around. So if people used to watch Jimmy Kimmel and everything, one of his favorite things to do is, he had all the silly segments, is he would do the whole thing with movies described badly and all this stuff. And it's just where people, and it's turned into a meme thing, and other people have talked about it. There's
all over Reddit, and it's everywhere.
A big, subreddit thing and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's a whole thing, and the whole premise of it is where you describe a movie in a way that's actually kind of accurate in a really obtuse, usually humor-filled sort of way and everything, and you try to guess what movie they're talking about based on this really weird description, It's like, so if you were trying to describe, say, Return of the Jedi, instead of saying like, oh, it's a movie about Luke Skywalker and Han Solo trying to bring down the Empire and blah, 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 you would say something else like, like a pirate and a snot-nosed kid, wreaking havoc, and trying to bring down an old man on a moon, and all that, and something like that. So what we're going to do, at least for this first episode, we're going to challenge each other with, I think we've each got a handful of them, and we have not revealed these to each other, so this is going to be interesting. But we came up with some movie plots described poorly, we'll say. Poorly described plots, that's what I'm calling it. It's PDPs, okay? Poorly described plots. We're going to throw some poorly described plots, and you got to keep them brief.
Yes.
And everything at each other, and we're going to try to guess, and we'll let you at home, if you're listening, try to guess, and let us know if you guessed all of these before we reveal the answers and stuff. And what we're going to do in the future is we encourage you guys to send in yours.
Yes.
To us, and let us try to guess it and everything, and we'll mention you by name on the show and everything. So, George, if you send one in, it'll be like, hey, everybody, George sent in. But for now, we are going to do this. So if you're all ready, we're going to get into our PDPs.
All right.
Poorly described plots.
It's going to go badly.
It's going to be
badly
as badly
as
the description is. All right, Meg, why don't you throw me one?
Throw you one. All right. All right, let's start with this one. Talking frog convinces son to kill his dad.
Talking frog convinces son to kill his dad. This sounds like a Robin Williams movie or something. By talking frog, are you referring to Yoda?
I might be.
Okay, so this would be, I guess, Empire Strikes Back, probably.
Yeah, episode 5.
Yeah, that's Empire Strikes. Talking frog.
I saw that.
That's perfect.
I was cracking up when I saw that one.
Yeah, it could be like talking, a frog obsessed with seagulls.
Yeah.
Stop it now. All right, yeah, that's a good one. Okay. All right, let's see what you think of this one. And I'm pretty sure, I tried not to make this too hard. I tried to pick ones that I know you've seen the movies or you're familiar with.
Yeah, vice versa.
Okay, so here's mine. Dude gets ditched by his coworkers and spends a lot of time growing potatoes, listening to ABBA, and trying not to die from sandstorms.
The Martian?
Yes. What gave it away? Was it the potatoes?
Potatoes, yep.
I figured that was kind of an easier one because we spoofed that one.
Yes.
With Vito being the
potatoes.
Yeah. Because he in real life, Vito hates potatoes. So that was pretty funny. Okay, so yeah, that was The Martian. All right, so you at home, you get the idea of what we're doing here. So, all right, go ahead.
All right. Everyone tries the ice bucket challenge.
Everyone tries the ice bucket challenge.
It's so wrong.
I'm trying to think of what that would be. Okay. Sorry for the dead air, folks. I'm trying to think about this. Everybody tries the ice bucket challenge. Yeah, that's Instagram. Did they make an Instagram movie? I don't think so. So we're talking icy water.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God. Are you talking about, is that supposed to be Titanic?
It is. Oh, God. It's so wrong.
That's pretty bad. Yeah, this is a lot harder when you don't have the meme to look at.
Yeah.
When you're just having to go simply by the quote. That's pretty funny. Oh, yeah, that's one of your favorite movies, huh?
Yeah, I hate that movie.
That's such a good movie. Oh, my God.
It's okay.
Anyway, all right, so we'll move on. So here's my next one. Angsty daydreamer spends more time hanging out with hairy weirdos and guys in obscenely tight pants rather than be a good babysitter.
Huh. Is it Labyrinth?
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought you might get that one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to take it easy because I usually
tight pants.
Yeah, because
because at first I was like, what? Babysitter.
So that is angsty daydreamer spends more time hanging out with hairy weirdos and guys in obscenely tight pants rather than be a good babysitter. It's pretty accurate.
It is very accurate, actually.
But that is Jim Henson's Labyrinth movie. Yeah. So I try, obviously, we all know you're a big fan of Labyrinth. So I'm trying to take it a little easy with you for our first time around. Some of these might be a little harder. We'll see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Let's do this one. Man with one ball has a hard time getting a ride home.
Man with one ball has a hard time getting a ride home. I'm trying to think of a movie where a dude only had one nut.
Be a little more literal.
I don't know.
He maybe puts a face on a ball.
Oh God. Yeah, that's I know what it is. Okay, Castaway.
Yes.
That's funny. That's a good one. Has a hard time getting a ride home. Okay, that's pretty good. I like that one. That's a good one. Okay, here's one for you. Ready?
Ready.
A dead dude and a dog compete for the affection of a grumpy emo teen girl.
A dead dude and a dog.
Compete for the affection of a grumpy emo teen girl. Nothing?
No. Dead dude and a dog compete for the affection
of a grumpy emo teen girl.
Beetlejuice?
Beetlejuice.
I just I don't remember the dog, but
no.
A dead guy and a dog.
I wonder.
Compete for the affection of.
I hope there's people at home that are like yelling.
Girl, they probably are. It's like, come on! A dead dude and a dog. That's the dog's throwing me.
All right, I'm gonna give you 3 seconds. 3.
Give me a hint.
Hint. Well, the teen girl, she has one acting style. She plays this character every time, it seems like, in my opinion.
Oh, is it Twilight?
Is that what gave it away?
Yeah.
So you're like, who does that? Oh, Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Twilight.
Oh.
A dead dude, so a vampire, and a dog.
Yeah, the wolf.
He's a wolf, are competing for the affection. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, that makes perfect sense.
Okay, yeah, see, it makes sense once
we figure it out. Yeah. All right, I'm going to throw you a harder one.
Okay.
We'll see how this goes. Okay, so a disturbed boy amuses himself by withholding life-changing information from his friends. His new friend.
Read it again.
A disturbed boy
Yeah.
amuses himself by withholding life-changing information from his new friend.
I have no idea.
Yeah, this one's kind of hard.
Amuses by withholding life-changing information from his new friend. Honest to God, I have no idea. I don't even have a guess. I'll be curious. I'd love to know at home if people are like, "Oh, I got that." Like, yeah, make sure you let us. Okay, just tell me. What is it?
Tell you?
Yeah.
The Sixth Sense.
Oh gosh. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
He didn't tell Bruce Willis he was dead the whole time when he was talking to him.
That makes sixth sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see dead people. Duh, I see you.
That's right. Wow. Okay, that was a tough. Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a hard one. So,
Yeah.
all right, what you got for me?
Okay. A guy who's been on TV, magazine covers, and in the news talks to people while waiting for a bus, but somehow no one recognizes him and just thinks he's full of shit.
Full of shit. That seems like a clue. My initial thought was Superman or Spider-Man.
It's not a superhero thing.
Okay. He's been on TV, the news. Read it again.
Okay, one more time, and then you got 5 seconds. A guy who's been on TV, magazine covers, and in the news talks to people while waiting for a bus, but somehow no one recognizes him and just thinks he's full of shit.
Forrest Gump?
That is exactly right.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's the
Here's
bus
a box
part.
of chocolates. Okay.
Is that what gave it away, is the bus part?
I mean, yeah. I was like, is it the bus thing? I don't know.
Yeah, because, I mean, think about it. Because I don't want to get into a whole thing, but it's like that. Think about it, because it's like
He's like pretty famous.
This man's been on the cover of like Time and Forbes. He owns supposedly like this very well-known company, Bubba Gump Shrimp, and everything. He's been on television. He's met Elvis, and he met the president in the White House, and he spoke in front of hundreds of people at the rally outside the White House,
right.
and just all these different things, but nobody recognizes him. Nobody sees it. He supposedly did that cross-country thing that inspired, thousands of people and all this kind of stuff, but these people sitting on all these people he ran into on the bus just had no idea who he was. That's a weak plot point, man. But anyway,
That's
so
a good
yeah,
one.
that's very good. You're doing better than me.
All right. Let's try this one.
Okay.
A drunk guy keeps losing his transportation.
A drunk guy keeps losing his transportation. Who would be a drunk guy? Is it Popeye or some shit? Huh?
You're kind of thinking along proper lineage.
Okay.
Think a little newer.
A little newer than that. Drunk guy. Read it to me again.
A drunk guy keeps losing his transportation.
Oh, is this like Dude, Where's My Car?
No.
Okay, because I was gonna say I've never seen that. I
Who's
don't.
famous for getting drunk?
Homer Simpson. I don't know. An alcoholic. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I really don't know.
Pirates of the Caribbean. Captain Jack Sparrow.
Oh God!
He keeps losing the Black Pearl.
I never would have thought of that.
No.
I
Pirates
never.
get drunk all the time. Where's all the
No,
rum?
I get it now. Yeah, okay. I forgot about that. I've only seen that movie like twice. So
Oh.
I mean, it's a great movie, but yeah, that's funny. Yeah, okay. Because he keeps losing the damn pearl. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And he's quite drunk.
Yep, almost every movie.
Wow. Man, you were doing way better at this than me. I really thought I was going to do better
I
at
did
this.
too. I thought it was going to be terrible.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I've only got one more. You got
Same
one more?
here. I got one more.
Okay. So I've got one more. So here you go. And you'll probably get this, but this one just made me laugh. So, village girl with Stockholm syndrome talks to the furniture and marries her captor.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, see, this is too easy for you. I thought that was pretty funny.
That is funny.
Village girl with Stockholm syndrome talks to the furniture.
Yep. True.
Marries her captor. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
All right. My last one is
Yeah.
a startup company learns the importance of a proper IT department.
Startup company learns the importance of war games?
Nope.
Shit. I thought that might be war games. Startup company. Read it again.
A startup company learns the importance of a proper IT department.
Office space.
No. Ever. Should never be done.
Inception.
No. Because it could be done doesn't mean that anybody else should it be done.
Oh, that just gave it away.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
You were so busy thinking about whether you could do it, you didn't ask yourself whether you should.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, you gave it away. Yeah. I don't know if I would have got that if you didn't give me that clue.
No?
No.
The IT
it makes,
guy,
again,
makes total sense once you know it.
Totally makes sense now. Very good. Good job.
Yeah, those are good ones.
You picked some tough ones for me, and obviously I didn't pick tough enough ones for you.
I don't know. I didn't know if I was ever going to get that Forrest Gump one.
No, you got it.
I did.
You did. You got it. All right. Well, that was fun. And again, we encourage.
Yeah, send us yours so we can do them on the show.
Right, exactly. And, we'll call you out by name and all that stuff. And, we'll see. Maybe we'll I don't know. We're developing this. Maybe we'll come up with something. Maybe we'll give out a prize or something at the end of the year to people that come up with the best ones. Yeah. We'll do something fun like that. But all right. Yeah, let's start wrapping it up. We're into the home stretch here. So here you go.
What do you suggest?
All right.
What do you suggest?
What do I suggest? What do you suggest? What are you suggesting? Huh? What are you driving at, Megan? What are you suggesting here? What are you trying to tell these people?
I mean, I don't even know what to say to all that.
So what we are at now is we are at our suggestion portion of the show where we recommend things that we've been digging lately and we think it's worth checking out. Meg, once again, I'm throwing the ball in your court. Why don't you recommend something to these fine people?
All right. I am recommending a new TV show this year that was on Paramount Plus, I believe. Yep, Paramount Plus.
Okay.
Had 8 episodes, and it is the new Fatal Attraction.
Oh, dear.
Yes. So, I mean, it had Joshua Jackson. That's really what pulled me into this. I adore that man.
Okay.
He played Dan Gallagher. It had Lizzie Kaplan, played Alex Forrest. Amanda Peet was in it, playing Dan Gallagher's wife, Beth. And Alyssa Jarrells, I don't know if I'm saying that right, was Ellen Gallagher.
Okay.
Their daughter. And then obviously a whole other supporting cast. But it all surrounded Joshua Jackson's character, Dan. And obviously, he had this illicit affair and everything. But instead of like the movie Fatal Attraction where it focuses on that and everything she does to them. And it does do that too. But this more entails telling the story because it tells it pretty soon. So I'm not giving too much away here. That Alex is killed, okay, which is the mistress. And he goes to jail for it. He loses everything. He was up for a judgeship and he loses his wife and loses contact with his daughter.
And this is how the series starts.
This is basically how the series starts.
Okay, so you're not spoiling
I'm not
too much.
spoiling anything here. And so the end of the first episode, he's like, I didn't, or he admits to killing her or whatever, just so he could get out of jail. And then goes on to try to prove he didn't kill her. And this is what really happened.
Okay.
So it leads to, going back and forth, to the past, show what happened, really happened, and then to the current, present, and stating how, reconnecting with his daughter and the wife is remarried now. But just how he's rebuilding that relationships now and proving his innocence. And I just thought I really enjoyed it. I couldn't stop watching it. And the way, I was like, where are they going to go with this? Because this just seems like a one and done thing.
Right.
But the way they set everything up and had it go, it leaves itself open to future seasons.
Okay.
I saw it coming, but I didn't see it coming. I was like, that's an interesting way to do that. Wrap that up. So as of right now, no second season has been confirmed to actually be happening, but they haven't flat out canceled the series either. So it could still happen. Just nothing's been announced yet.
Gotcha.
But it's it's a modern lens of attitudes towards strong women. Because the wife's really strong, the daughter's really strong, Alex Forrest is really strong. It highlights personality disorders because many people tried helping Alex get better and all that. She would obviously push them away. And coercive control, where she tried to control every situation. She was so convincing because she would be so, I don't want to say lovable and down to earth and easy to get to know and talk to and all that. And then she would just flip on a dime. She played it very well. So I really enjoyed this series.
Cool.
And I'm very curious to see how they move forward with this.
Okay.
Without giving anything away.
Yeah.
I want to talk more about it so badly, but I don't want to give it away.
No, not when you're recommending for people to watch it.
Yep. Go check it out, and then so they'll do a second season.
Yeah. Check it out and then go into the Geeking Squad and tell Meg you want to talk to her about it. Maybe you guys can have like a private chat
about it. Yeah.
Where we talk about it or something.
There we go.
Cool.
All right. So that's my suggestion, Fatal Attraction.
Okay. And that's on Paramount Plus?
Paramount Plus, yes.
Okay. Cool.
All right. What about you?
All right, so I'm recommending a movie that I recently saw at the theater, and it is the latest installment of Mission Impossible.
Ooh, what was that like?
It was Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. It's a mouthful there. Yeah, it was really, really good. I admit that I am new, even though this series has been going on for like 20 years or so. I am new to Mission Impossible. I've seen parts of the movies in the past and stuff, but I'm not well versed in it. I don't think I saw anything from the last movie, because this is the 7th movie in the series and stuff. So I went into this a little blind. I knew some basic stuff about Tom Cruise's character, Ethan Hunt. And I used to watch the old Mission Impossible, and I know this is different, but I understand the basic premise of the show and everything. I thought this was a lot of fun. I thought it was really, again, taking it from somebody that I can't weigh it up against, if there's people that are like, oh, it wasn't as good as part 5 or whatever, or blah, 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 blah. I have no experience with that. So I just took this as it was, you know what I mean? Like I'm just going to see a good movie. And it was really good. There was a few things that it was like, well, that's a little flimsy and convenient, but those kind of movies always are.
Right.
There's always a lot of...
Can't expect realism.
Right, suspension of disbelief and stuff there. But it was really good. It's really entertaining. If you just want that kind of like fast-paced, like twisty-turny, like where's this going to go? Oh my gosh, And there was a couple of little twists in there that I was surprised about, like a couple of things where stuff happened to certain characters. I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. I didn't think they'd do that. But yeah, it's a really, really good high energy movie. I'm very eager to see. I believe they filmed part 1 and part 2 at the same time. So from my understanding, part 2 will be out next year.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So I don't have to wait too long to see the sequel, because the last movie, Fallout, came out in 2018. So it's been 5 years.
Yeah.
So
thank you, COVID.
Yeah, exactly. But so this next movie's coming out, I believe, next June or July or something like that. Yeah, and it's really good. Great cast. It's got Tom Cruise, and then it introduces Haley Atwell in it, Captain Carter,
okay.
And Peggy Carter, she's in it and plays an important character in the movie and does quite a good job. Ving Rhames is in it again. Simon Pegg's in it. Vanessa Kirby is in it. She's great. Pom Clementife's in it. That Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
She's in it. Yeah, she plays a pretty interesting character with some interesting twists there. I won't give anything away.
Twist.
With some twists, yeah. Really, really good, interesting cast. And again, it's one of those ones that if you've never seen the other movies, or even if you're like, well, I've only seen the first couple, so I don't know if I could watch this one. I mean, again, taking it from somebody that isn't familiar that much with this series and, you know, and all this stuff, I was able to get into this movie autonomously, like on its own. It was really good as a standalone movie. They gave enough backstory on certain things for you to be able to sort of follow it. A couple things were a little shaky where I was like, I don't quite understand the dichotomy here between this character and that character. A couple of things were a little shaky, but not enough that it made me not enjoy the movie. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was a really fun movie, and it made me sort of realize that I sort of missed those kind of movies, because I don't watch those kind of movies too much. No. Those were the kind of things that we talked about before. We watched a lot in the 90s and stuff,
right?
You know, all the big action-packed, you know, blockbustery movies, and I just had kind of gotten away from it. So to go to the theater and see that again and everything was like, oh, this is fun. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. So
yeah, I want to see that one.
Yeah, okay, then good. I'm
taking your recommendation.
There you go. All right. I'm probably not going to watch Fatal Attraction because that seems creepy to me. But but we'll see. Maybe I will at some point. And last but not least, I know this show is going real long, but it is our first time back. Yeah, and it's our first time back. We're going to trim this down maybe a little bit for next time, but we might.
No, we're not.
So we always like to end it on a positive note where we show some support for another show, another channel, another podcaster or YouTube channel or something like that. The one that I've chosen is my recommended show and channel is the Leicester Vintage and Old Toy Shop channel. Mm-hmm. Now, this is a show that is based around exactly what it says, the Leicester Vintage and Old Toy Shop in Leicester, England. And it's two guys, Joe and Gav. They're friends. They've been friends for years. Joe is a big, lovable guy that they're both bald guys with glasses. It's pretty funny, but they're like completely different. I don't know. They're just very, I don't want to say like Abbott and Costello, but they've got that sort of like, they've got that perfect partnership there, you know, between the two of them, the way they play off of each other and stuff. They're quirky, they're funny, they have very different tastes in their collecting stuff and things that they're interested in. But it's two guys that own and run a toy shop in England. And on the surface, you might go, okay, well, that doesn't sound all that interesting. Well, what it is where they made it interesting is they have a thing where they do toy shop on tour. And what that means is they go around, it's an episodic show like you would watch on, you know, whatever, on History Channel or something like that. It's an episodic show where they go around kind of American Pickers style.
Okay.
And they go to different towns, not only in the UK, but they go to Germany, they go to Italy, they go to Spain, they go to Belgium, and they go around to other toy shops. They go around to toy shows and fairs and things like that. And they're always hunting for things that they can bring back to their shop and sell. Again, very American Pickers style.
Yes, very.
But it's all based on toys, on collectible toys and stuff that they can sell in their shop. And they're very knowledgeable about toys and stuff, just like the American Pickers guys are. Mm-hmm. Very knowledgeable about what they're looking at. They explain to the audience at home. So even if you're like, well, I don't know that much, you know, I played with toys when I was a kid, but I don't know that much about it, you can still watch it and be like, oh, that's interesting, you know, because they'll explain the history behind the things they come across and why certain things are worth more than others. And a lot of it is focused on vintage toys or rare toys, but they get into like modern stuff too. And they don't just focus on boys' toys. Yeah, there's a lot of He-Man and Transformers and Star Wars and G.I. Joe, or Action Man as it would be over in England. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of focus on that, but they also focus on other stuff. I've seen them talk, you know, about Cabbage Patch and about Care Bears and ponies and Barbie and all sorts of other things. Like and games and just a lot of different, even video game stuff. Like they cover a lot of ground. They've got great personalities. they're the kind of guys that you're like, oh, these are the kind of guys that I would want to go into a toy shop and like meet and talk to, you know, because
Pick their brains.
right, because they're very personable. They're just really cool guys, and their show's doing well. I think it should be doing way better than it even is. Like it's not a show that it's like, well, they've got 5 million subscribers. Not anywhere close. And
wow,
And
okay.
I'm really surprised that, like, those of us that are in the know, us like hardcore toy geeky guys, like, know about this show and everything. And a lot of us, and Brian from Plaid Stallions has been like touting it for a while now. He includes them. They write a column now in Toy Ventures magazine.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so they've even, if any of you have watched or listened to me talk about Toy Ventures magazine from Plaid Stallions in the past, these are the guys that also contribute to that magazine. But they've got this great show, I promise you. If you're into those kind of shows that you've watched on TV over the years, again, whether it was American Pickers or Toy Hunter or any other shows, the guys that go and buy storage lockers and all those kind. If you like that kind of episodic TV where people are hunting for the cool, like, rare finds
Antiques
and deals,
Roadshow.
Antiques Roadshow, this is just a very toy nerd centric version of that, and it's a lot of fun. It's very well done. Like the quality of the filming and the editing and everything is like pro. Like, this is TV ready, pro stuff and everything. But it's on YouTube, and I'll put all the information in the description below the show and everything. But yeah, it's just youtube.com at Lester. It's spelled Leicester for us Americans, but it's Lester Vintage Toy Shop, or it's www.lestervintage.co.uk. And you can find them on Facebook and all that stuff. And it's pretty cool. So that's my recommendation this time around.
Solid recommendation there.
Cool. All right, everybody. Well, that was fun.
That was fun. It was nice to be back.
It's nice to be back for sure. For sure. But we will be back hopefully in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Well, that's the
No, hopefully we will be back in
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah. As the Terminator says in German, ich komme wieder. It means I'll be back. Yeah, exactly. So
It's not a tumor.
it is not a tumor. All right. We'll talk to you again soon, folks. Take care.
Later.